It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Jen Cohen as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. As always, it is great to have you in studio with us today. Yavapai Silent Witness Director Steve Skurja. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We are getting ready to do our next phase of Catch 22. It's a month late, but better late than never.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And we were held up because we have, well, let's start with that. Silent Witness has a new website.
We do.
And that was kind of what held things back a little bit.
Yes, we revamped our website. Been working on it for a couple months, and it wasn't necessarily the revamping, because we had all that done and everything was in place and ready to go, but we changed domain providers. And we had a company in San Diego that was our provider. And I've never seen such problems with what I would think would be a very minor changeover. Push a couple buttons, sign a couple signatures, and be done. And it took 3 months to get that done. Whereas the website and all the new changes and everything was done long before that. We're just ready to plug it in. And we did last week. We got it all up and running.
Yeah, we did a little story with you.
Yeah, and I got to take my hat off to 4 people at the Yavapai County MIS office. They just did a great job. I love what they did with the website. It looks really good. We really hadn't ever partnered with Yavapai County since Silent Witness moved from the city of Prescott over to the county. We just kept on working with outside providers and designers and stuff. And recently the county said they'd like to get on board with us, and they did, and they created this new site for us, which we're very happy with.
It's a successful program. We should probably say the website, yavapaisw.com.
Exactly.
Yavapai SW, of course, Silent Witness, yavapaisw.com. And then phone number you're going to want to remember too, and people probably have this memorized like I do, but it's 1-800-932-3232.
Exactly.
And that is the number for Yavapai Silent Witness, where you can call and remain anonymous and give tips and possibly get rewards as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And, the neat thing about this new website is it's really easy to follow and navigate. The phone number is all over the home page, which we like. Because I've gone to websites before looking for something. Maybe I want to order something, or maybe it's golf and you want to arrange a tee time and you can't find the phone number.
Phone number and address sometimes too. Address could be a difficult thing too.
Exactly. So I didn't want that to be a problem. I wanted that number everywhere. And the other thing that's so very important for tipsters is, in order to get a cash reward from Yavapai Silent Witness, in most programs out there, most Crime Stopper programs, you have to call the program number. And in our case, it's the number you just gave, 1-800-932-3232. You have to call that number, and you have to become involved with the program. You have to get that control number. You have to give us the information in order to receive a cash reward. You can't call 911. You can't call the sheriff's office. You can't call the Cottonwood Police Department and report it and then expect to get a reward. Even though maybe we've advertised a reward, you still have to call Silent Witness and give us that information.
You got to call the middleman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Right.
And the reason for that is let's say that something big happens in Cottonwood, and there's a $500 reward out there. Somebody calls the Cottonwood Police Department and says, I know who did this. This person did it. Cottonwood goes out and makes the arrest. That person calls Silent Witness and says, hey, I gave Cottonwood that information. How do we know? We don't know. And everybody in Cottonwood could call Silent Witness and say, no, it was me. No, it was me.
Right.
That's why it's so important to call Silent Witness. And then you get that control number. Now you're locked into the program, and now you may qualify for a cash reward.
And there's a lot of different things on the website too. There's unsolved cases, cold cases. I noticed at the top of the page today when I went there that the juvenile that ran away from Prescott Valley and is endangered.
Right.
Her picture's up at the top there too. Right. There's a couple of cases that happened on ranches recently that we're going to talk about this morning.
Right.
That information's up there.
Yeah.
There's a nice little yellow ticker that comes across the screen, kind of a crime scene tape that comes across with the phone number on it. So,
and that ticker also says you must call Yavapai Silent Witness
exactly
at
right.
this number in order to get a cash reward.
Yeah.
And the other neat thing about that ticker tape is if something major happened. Now, for instance, last week there was a homicide in Prescott, and we thought we were looking for the killer over here in the Verde Valley. We were getting ready to use that ticker tape to put a new message up and give a description of the individual. So as soon as you went on the Silent Witness website, that ticker tape would go across and give you an updated piece of information about that crime and about that suspect. So it's a neat job that the folks did.
Yep. Yep, and Silent Witness is available 24/7 too, so you can call any time of the day.
Absolutely, any time of day or night, holidays, weekends, it doesn't matter. We have operators standing by, waiting to take your message.
Now, what if I suspect that something's going on, some shenanigans going down a few doors down from me on the street, and I call Silent Witness and say, "Hey, I think my neighbor 3 doors down at this address is up to no good."
Well, first of all, you're going to have to give us an address. You're going to have to give us a name. You're going to have to tell us what no good you think that person's doing.
Okay.
You just can't call and create a situation for a neighbor maybe you're having conflict with.
But if it results in arrest at that house, there's a chance I'll get a reward for that, correct? Okay, but
absolutely.
It could take some time, of course, because they got to call the police, the detectives have to go out there, and the whole thing has to start going.
And you know, the other neat thing about Silent Witness, and this is one of the points that a lot of people don't realize, even our officers, even though we tell them all the time. We'll just use that scenario, okay? You tell us about this individual, and this is Joe Blow, and he lives 3 doors down, and you just feel that something's going on. So the Cottonwood Police Department goes out, and maybe they send a detective out, and he sits on that house for a while. And he sees some activity that's going on that he thinks is suspicious as well. So they decide to do what we refer to as a knock and talk. They're just going to go up, knock on the door, and talk to him and see what's going on. So they're there to talk to Joe Blow. And Joe isn't home, but his brother Bob is. And for officer safety's sake, you get some identification from Bob. And while you're talking to him, you also put him in the computer and run him. Well, Bob comes back wanted. Well, we're going to pay you a reward because we would have never gone to that house if you wouldn't have called. Even though we didn't arrest Joe. Maybe Joe didn't even have a warrant. But Bob did, and now we're going to pay you a reward.
Okay. All right. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What do we want to jump into next?
Well, you know, talking about Catch-22, we talked about that a little bit. This is going to be the 42nd phase of Catch-22. We've been doing it for a long time. To date, we have arrested 85 high-profile felons due to Catch-22.
It's amazing.
And we have paid out $42,500 in cash rewards to the successful callers of just Catch-22 alone.
Catch-22. Since 97, huh?
Yeah.
We've been doing this since 1997.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Been
wild.
around for a long time.
Yeah.
And you know, in the early part of Catch-22, we went to the sheriff's office and we called all the agencies and says, who are you looking for and this sort of thing. And I was looking at the stats just yesterday, and the first phase of Catch-22, we arrested 12 of 22. But they were all home. They were all at the houses where we had the addresses listed. And we said, well, first of all, what we have to do now is we have to be a little bit more aware of where our wanted felons are. We have to go knock on doors way ahead of time. And then once we realize that they've absconded, they've moved, they've left the country, you know, they moved to another state, now is when Catch-22 will get involved. Now we'll advertise for them.
Well, you know, we have to take our first break, but that's not a bad thing, because I mean, we see that with just about every agency. They go out and they test something, see what works and doesn't work, and so obviously, yeah, we had people we need to find. Okay, so we're sitting now with Yavapai Silent Witness Director Steve Skurja. Phone number is 1-800-932-32. Website is yavapaisw.com. Back in just a couple minutes.
This is Bruce Morrow, Transportation Manager for Cottonwood Area Transit. Remember, we cover the entire Verde Valley and Sedona. Cottonwood Area Transit has you covered wherever you want to ride in the Verde Valley, all day, every day. Take Cottonwood Area Transit through Clarkdale, Verde Village, and from 26 locations in Cottonwood. With Verde Links, it's a quick and easy trip to Sedona every day. Don't forget our connectors to Camp Verde. Visit cottonwoodaz.gov for Cottonwood Area Transit and take a seat. Let's go ride.
How I define making, in the broadest possible terms, it is making something extant in the world that didn't exist. Everybody who's ever made anything is bringing something into fruition for a reason, and that act in and of itself makes us stewards of our culture. It's something that we're talking about. It's a response. Actually, it's telling a story. That's really what it is. And I include everything that could be made: painting, sculpture, welding, all of that.
Yellow is positive.
When a kid gets their hands on the world and learns that they can make their fantasy play, that they can make their reality, that's power. And as far as I'm concerned, everyone should feel that kind of power. There we go. If there's something that interests you to bring into the world, that's fantastic. Go figure out how to do it. Go tell your own story. There it is. And so I want to know why you make. Let's go.
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyimake.org.
150 over 90.
180 over 111.
160 over 110. I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure looks like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a stroke are far from invisible or silent. If you've come off your treatment plan, get back on it, or talk with your doctor to create an exercise, diet, and medication plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
If I would have followed a treatment plan, I would not be in this situation.
Welcome back to Countywide. Sitting down with Director of Yavapai Silent Witness Steve Skurja today. The phone number is 1-800-932-3232. Website is yavapaisw.com. We were talking about Catch-22 just before the break. We just got started. 85 felons? 85 felons?
85.
This is 1997. Over $42,500 cash rewards paid out. The way Silent Witness works for Catch-22 is Steve sends me the Catch-22. As a matter of fact, I've got the first 9 right here.
Okay.
After we're done today, he's going to come in, sit down, he's going to record the bits that we need for the stories that we'll run. So every day, starting July 1st until July 22nd, we will feature a different fugitive each day for 22 days, and then that felon will run that day. That information is also posted at yavapaisw.com. Is that going to be like a kind of a main deal on the front page and a big deal?
There will be the felon of the day on the front page.
Right.
And then all you have to do is click the picture and it'll go to that page on our website.
Okay.
And it'll show you that day and all the days before, if that is the situation.
Okay, all right. So every day, though, every day for 22 days, and you've got the first 9 already set out. Now, some of these are redos. And people probably noticed that too, because you mentioned the first Catch-22, almost half of them, well, half of them were captured.
Yeah.
More than half were captured.
And we almost went broke.
Yeah, right. The first, yeah, it's a huge success.
Yes.
But nevertheless, some of these folks you've heard of before. I'm not going to say their names, but I've heard them numerous times as well. But what are we kind of hoping for when we do these reruns?
Well, they're still wanted. They're still high profile. The very first day, that's not a. Now, we made all of the rewards $500, and we thought that was very fair. When I say we, I mean my board of directors and myself. We thought that was a very fair reward. Some of them are a little bit more high profile than others, and this sort of thing. So we thought, well, that's a good middle of the road reward. However, there are felons in there that are worth more than $500, and day number 1 is worth $3,000, and that's a homicide suspect. And the reason he's worth more than $500 is because in the very beginning, and this is a Prescott Police Department homicide, where an individual was stabbed to death at a hotel out on East Gurley Street in Prescott, and this, of course, was several years ago, but. Yavapai Silent Witness stepped up immediately and offered a $1,000 reward. Well, within a couple days, 2 friends of the victims came forth and each wrote me a check for $1,000 to be used for that case. And that will never go away until this individual is arrested and maybe a reward is paid. But that $3,000 will always remain intact.
Okay.
Okay. Otherwise, it's a $500 reward.
Okay. All right. And you have to call Silent Witness in order to claim the rewards on these. That number again is 1-800-932-3232. Let's talk about a couple of recent cases, because I think people are kind of accustomed to hearing you on our radio stations, for sure, because on a regular basis you send us stuff that you're looking for, we're looking for bad guys.
Yeah.
And we had a couple recently. One was just a couple weeks ago, some criminal damage case.
We had a week and a half ago on the weekend, late at night on a Saturday night, I believe it was, probably about 11 o'clock. It was witnessed that there were 3 or 4 pickup trucks parked on the Perkins Ranch, and this would be east of Chino Valley, and I'm sure everybody's familiar with Perkinsville and the surrounding ranch. But these folks were down there. It had rained that day, if you remember. We got a really good rain that Saturday.
How could we forget? It's been months.
Exactly.
Right.
So it was a celebration. But these trucks are down there and they're playing in the mud, and one of them gets kind of squirrely, and he's doing brodies around a big water bladder, and there's a pump there, and there's a water trough there, and loses control. I'm sure it was an accident, but he runs over a pump head and ruins the pump, ruins the well. A lot of the electrical falls into the pump itself, into the well. That all has to be cleaned out. And in the very beginning, they felt there was a $4,000 or $5,000 damage. Well, I've talked to the ranchers since, and now it's gotten up to $7,000, because when the pump guys came out, they said the pump is ruined as well.
Oh.
So they have to pull all that out. Meanwhile, until they get that fixed, the Perkins family have to haul water to all the cattle in that particular area because the pump's out. So you got a $7,000 vandalism, and we're looking for a light-colored, late-modeled, lifted pickup truck that has an LED light bar above the front windshield. And if anybody's out there, give us a call, especially those 3 or 4 that were watching.
Right, yeah, maybe he's not such a good friend of yours.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing is the folks that were out there watching, they could probably be held as well. They allowed this to happen. They're not reporting it. So we're basically looking for all of them. So it would behoove one of them to pick up the phone and call. Remember, you never have to give your name. You don't have to testify. And in this case, we're offering a $500 cash reward. Now, there's another ranch vandalism that happened probably, 6-8 months ago.
Right.
And this was over in the Dugas area. And this was vandalism to several gates on the property that were all solar-powered gates. And also it involved the theft of a pickup truck. Now, the interesting thing about this case is that pickup truck eventually ended up in Tuba City. And it ended up at a house where the FBI was watching a wanted fugitive. And they didn't want to approach the house because there were children in the house, so they wanted to let this individual come out and get mobile, and then they would take him down. And that eventually happened. A chase ensued. There was a car crash. FBI cars are taken out of commission, as well as the vehicle that the suspect was driving. And lo and behold, it's a stolen pickup from this ranch from a couple months before. There is a $10,000 reward reference this case. And the reason there's a $10,000 reward, and people might think, well, gosh, that's a lot of money. Well, it's not our money. The rancher put that money up. He would like to see justice. The pickup truck ended up being totaled, and there was a lot of damage to those solar gates and panels and things that these people ran through on the ranch.
This person's not admitted to anything about that.
No.
Just happened to have a stolen truck from a ranch that had all that vandalism.
Exactly.
So we need somebody to prove who it was.
Exactly.
With information that can prove it.
And in that situation, when they stole that truck, they drove onto that ranch property in their own vehicle. So we know there were at least 2 people. Person that drove the stolen truck and the person that drove their vehicle out of there.
Okay.
So we know there's at least 2 people that knows what happened out on that ranch that day. So for one of those people, we have $10,000 for you. Give me a call.
There we go. All right, number's 1-800-932-3232. Website is yavapaiSW.com. Stick around. Countywide, we'll be back in just a couple minutes.
It appears these hot ashes are about to be dumped, which could possibly start a wildfire. How will Smokey deal with such a hot situation? The garden hose defense. Next, a thorough stir. Then another spray. And finally, feeling if the ashes are cool.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, yes, the selfie. A ritual practiced so frequently with this tribe, but not so much by Smokey Bear.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Making was a big part of the foundation of what I wanted my children to do and to have fun with.
Growing up in the Bushnell house was like Nutty Professor craziness. I know, that's true.
Getting burned on a hot glue gun, that was okay. You know, burning themselves with a soldering iron, that was okay.
I was 6 when I learned how to solder.
We learned how to paint, we learned how to sheetrock, and all these things had such lasting impact.
I felt that creativity would give them entree into being able to do anything they wanted.
Whatever we showed our dad, it was always the coolest thing in the world to him.
Good ideas are very often considered silly at their onset.
And by that definition, we haven't even really grown up, you know? I mean, the projects have just gotten bigger.
We all make and have fun. Now the question is, why do you make?
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyiMake.org.
Welcome back to Countywide. We've got just a couple minutes left of the program. Again, we remind you the phone number. You'll be hearing a lot over the next 22 days as soon as July 1st kicks around is 1-800-932-3232. Website is yavapaiSW.com. We talked about silent witness stats for Catch-22, but overall silent witness stats. How long have you been doing silent witness now for Yavapai County?
I personally have been the director for 34 years.
34 years.
But the program has existed for 37 years.
Okay. All right. So just about from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So give me the big numbers since you've been there.
We have arrested, now this is due to calls to silent witness. Okay. We've arrested 3,621 felons in Yavapai County. We're responsible for clearing 1,690 felony cases. We've recovered just short of $2 million worth of stolen property.
Wow.
We have seized just over $15 million worth of illegal drugs, and we have paid in cash rewards $528,025. So just over $500,000.
And there's room to see all that grow, all those numbers grow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yavapai Silent Witness is a very successful program.
It is.
I've been working with you on it since at least '97, since Catch-22 first started. That's when you invited me over for a luncheon, and we sat down and we all talked about who was going to run this on the radio and TV stations and newspapers and stuff like that. But I've seen it grow tremendously over the years that I've been doing this with you, and you've just seen it snowball as well.
Yeah.
And but it could get much bigger. You guys get more money.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
you've got more money.
We've got $10,000 waiting for somebody to call on that ranch vandalism.
Right.
And another $5 on another ranch vandalism. But our account is very full. We'll just put it that way. We have a lot of money in our bank account. We get a lot of donations from private parties. You know, we have a fundraiser. We have a golf tournament coming up in September. It's going to be our 34th annual. We always make a lot of money on that. And by the way, the golf field is full already.
Oh, so I won't be doing that story with you.
Yeah. That golf tournament has become so popular, and it's mainly because, and people want to support us, of course.
Sure.
But we really make it for our golfers. We give the neatest prizes away. We give a bunch of, I'll give this year probably 10 to a dozen golf bags away in just a raffle. So it doesn't matter how good of a golfer you are. You can come out there and walk away with a $200 golf bag.
No, I wouldn't know what to do with it. We're out of time.
Are we?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're out of time. 1-800-932-3232. YavaPaiSW.com. Steve, as always, it's really great to see you. Thanks for coming in. That's today's Countywide. Thanks for watching and listening, and we'll talk to you again next time.